Hi, welcome to the bathtub, where when you hear this sound, this theme song, and we stop it really quick because we're afraid of getting sued, and we stop it so soon, just as you're getting into the music, and then we just blather on about books. This is reading great books in the bathtub, and this is New-Bop-A-Lula, the great Gene Vincent song. It has nothing to do with that song, but we just use it as an excuse to play some good music. Dodo, she hears me talking, and she's in the cage. She's been ostracized from the bathtub for a while because she's been such a pain in the ass. I'm having some tea. We're doing an afternoon filming of this for several reasons. The most important was I had to carry this damn thing up from the garage. Dodo, shut up. And before I take it down, I wanted to do another one or two of these because it's so useful, as whiteboard. New-Bop-A-Lula just means we basically show you all these books I got, these new books I got in the house. Most of them were sent to me for review, and I couldn't review them, or I wasn't able to find somewhere to review them. But they're all kind of cool books. Some I don't even know anything about. Most of them I know nothing about. I just show you some cool books, and that's basically all we do here. So we finished off last week. We talked on the last episode a couple of days ago. We did Michael Kurland, and I thought this was kind of cool. I didn't show this. We talked about Michael's book, The Bells of Hell, which is a terrific thriller. And this is an old 1964 issue of the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. I bought this because it was cheap on eBay, and it was the whole year was edited by Avram Davidson, my old friend. And we're trying to read through these. It's one of our many projects that we never get around to. But anyway, it was kind of cool. Right here. Again, this Michael, an early story of his with Lawrence Janifer, and it's called Elementary. I haven't read it yet, but I wanted to read it, and it was just kind of cool that it was there. We're reading through this series anyway. Anyway, that's just point of interest. A lot of books, cool books, books I want to keep, I don't want to keep. I don't know what I'm going to do with all these books. Elaine Locke. I don't know much about of the many things I know nothing about is the Harlem Renaissance. I only know a few things about it. I like Langston Hughes, and I like so forth, and I liked. He wasn't really part of the Harlem Renaissance so much, I guess, but I like Chester Himes a lot, who was around that area during part of it. But anyway, this is a guy I never heard of. I don't know anything about Elaine Locke or Alan Locke. He was a philosopher who was kind of part of the Harlem Renaissance, and he had a lot of interesting ideas, I guess. It looks pretty good. I just read the back cover, and it's sort of kind of perked my interest enough that I probably keep this. I don't really keep too many new books anymore because I don't have any room, but it did sort of interest me if I ever get around to reading anything about the Harlem Renaissance. Again, for Black History Month, February, the shortest month of the year they for Black History Month, but I think they should make it December or something where you get 31 full days. But anyway, for Black History Month, Penguin does lovely books, and they're always doing nice scholarly editions of stuff. So if you're interested in philosophy of the Harlem Renaissance, Alan Locke. There's a book just came yesterday, The Face Maker. I don't know why this was sort of sent to me out of the blue by Farrar Straus. It's a visionary surgeon's battle to mend the disfigured soldiers of World War I, and it's a thriller. It's a medical thriller. I have no idea what this is. I'm probably not going to keep this. It's not that. It's probably. I don't know if it's good or bad. There it is. It's kind of a cool looking book. A medical thriller. I don't know. Here's a couple more new books. We like Tachyon publications because almost exclusively because they publish my old buddy Tom Dish, some of his last books. They've also published a lot of good stuff over the years. I know they published a lot of Alfred Bester and reprinted some of his stuff. And they did a lot of genre stuff over the years, and they're still doing well. I think they're San Francisco. We like San Francisco, and that's my hometown, and we'd like to see publishers outside of New York. Anyway, here's a couple of books. And this is a couple of science fiction books. This is Boys, Beasts, and Men. It's coming out from Tachyon. And it's a short... No, it's not. I thought this was a short story collection. Anyway, what the hell do I know? It looks like a short story collection. No, it's not. Yes, this is a short story collection. His debut short story collection. Don't know anything about it, but we like Tachyon books, and it's a book of, looks like genre fiction. He's got a lot of good quotes in here from people. And where has he published these stories? He's published at Nightmare Magazine, Lightspeed Magazine. So they're pretty well published stories. A lot of Nightmare Magazine. Okay? So there you go. If you're interested in genre fiction, or whatever genre fiction is these days. Here's another one from Tachyon. It's her breakout techno thriller. Virtual reality expert Kimberly Unger has created the iconic, badass cyberpunk heroine that we truly need. Okay, that doesn't jump off the shelf at me, but you might find it interesting. And it's Tachyon, and again, we like the people at Tachyon and what they're doing and trying to keep good fiction alive. I'm gonna say that. Oh, here's one. This is only, I think this is only out in the UK. We're having tea today. There's no just nice tea and honey, green tea and honey. This is a Simonon. It's out in England, and it's called The People Opposite. I actually have the original hardcover edition of this from the 50s, and this is a new translation. This is probably going to go right on my stack of books I'll probably read the next week or two, because I love pitch. I don't like the older Simonon as much, but I like all the Simonon. And this is a new. Penguin ran out of Maigret books to do, and now they're going back and retranslating and providing new translations of a lot of the Simonon thrillers. He's one of my all-time favorites. I'm putting that over in the stack of stuff I'll probably read very soon. Here's a bunch of cool books that just came. Normally I would have liked to have reviewed these, but I've written a lot about comic books in the last year, and the places I don't think there's anyone to let me do them. Anyway, this is suddenly Marvel Comics, all that crap we read. It is crap. It's fun crap that we read as kids. Captain America and Black Panther and The Amazing Spider-Man. Total rubbish. It's fun. It's being reissued as classics, Penguin Classics editions, right next to Zola and Thomas Mann and all the highbrow types. We have these big, but they're actually beautiful books. If I had room in my house, I would keep these just because they're kind of beautiful. Look at this is the Steve Ditko, the early Spider-Man Steve Ditko stuff, which is still the most, you can't get this out. And then there's essays in here. There's an introductory essay, and by Ben Saunders. He's the series editor. Jason Reynolds. So anyway, they kind of have nice textual. They're doing textual work on the old old Marvel books. They even got, they reproduced the Spider's Web, the old letter columns. I buy all my. Oh, terrific! The only show where you get phone calls interrupting the people while they're doing the show. Anyway, so we've got Spider-Man. This one, Captain America. I mean, most of us we were too cool for Captain America. Some guy running around with a flag. I never read a lot of Captain America as a kid, but there's got all that Jack Kirby stuff in there. And again, good introduction. They even got bibliographies at the end and textual notes at the back, like they have in most. They're beautiful books. I don't know, that maybe they're taking comics a little too seriously. This is the Black Panther, so this has the first appearances to Jack Kirby, where he created this character, and then it has a bunch of comics I read when I was just in college. When I went to college and I was bored, I started reading comics again. Look at that! I think that's Billy Graham. I don't know anything about comic history really, but I remember really reading a lot of Billy Graham's comics. He did a bunch of Black Panthers, and he also did Luke Cage, the superhero for hire, the guy who's like he's like a detective, and his stuff is he's narratively really, he's kind of a little Steranko-ish. Anyway, this is kind of a cool book. I was saying I preferred buying all my comics off Comixology, and then I got bought by those bastards at Amazon. By the way, this show is brought to you by AWKMA. Amazon and the Washington Post can kiss my ass. We can actually prevent ourselves from buying some stuff from Amazon, and we have to do it sometimes. And there are some good journalists at the Washington Post, but it's owned by an algorithm asshole, and we try not to buy from them. That's all we do. It's a nebulous organization that has only that one message. Let's try not to buy from them. And I'm doing pretty good this year. I buy much less than I used to buy from those bastards. Anyway, that's a cool set of books. You know, I'm going to have trouble getting rid of those. Now, here's a guy I'm going to say a few words about. We talked about him a few months ago, a couple years ago when this horrible pandemic started. Derek Wyatt has a publishing house called Calamari Press, which we talked a bit about. I know them mainly because they did a hard paperback edition of my first novel, The History of Luminous Motion. I did a new introduction for it, and I can't see where it is now. But Derek does really interesting book designs. He really is real art. I think that's really his art is as a designer of books, and he really throws these kind of really odd character books together. And he did a beautiful job in my book. This is a new book. He normally reprints really odd stuff, very surrealist, Dada-esque type writers who I don't normally read in the bathtub. This is unusual for him. It's a new book of stories, and they're not completely crazy. Like a lot of some of the new stuff he does is really very surreal stuff that I don't normally like. It's a guy named David Nutt. I know nothing about him. He was published in a few good places, from what I can tell. And all I do when I see a new writer is read the first paragraph. You know, if they have a crappy first paragraph, then what are they doing? And this does not. This has a good first paragraph. The first story in the book is called The Blister Sisters. 6 weeks after my twin sister's suicide, I am once again living with Mother Blister. The house is the same snobbish Dutch colonial where I endured all the delicious traumas of adolescence. This time, I have returned with an understuffed suitcase and several incriminating gray hairs on my head. Also, a flare gun. I don't intend to incinerate the shrubs or wicker patio furniture or anything. I just need to establish a position is all. Now, that to me is a good writer. You can tell right away he's good. So I'm going to put that on my stack of stuff I'm going to try to read eventually. Derek also sent me some stuff. I'm always puzzled about. He publishes a lot of these books, and I haven't read any of them. But they're like the sort of books I would never normally pick up and take to the bathtub. But they look like Derek's kind of design. And they're kind of beautifully designed books. Really odd. There's no title. Well, this one's called Residue, and then there's no author on it. You know, I sometimes feel like it's a little too Dot-esque for me. You know, I like authors and I like narrative people who tell stories and all that stuff. And these are kind of surreal, weird books. They're really cool to look at, though. So I mean, I think they're actually might be kind of cool. I guess you could take them to the bathtub. This one has more text in it. I haven't read any of them. Most of them are like this one. This is, 4 IR X forms by no one. It's by no one. I think these are Derek's done these. They're great to look at. They're kind of gorgeous looking books. And anyway, this is Calamari Press. And he publishes, well, he's got the David Nutt book, which is called Summertime in the Emergency Room. And then these weird books, which I'm not even sure I know what the titles of these books are. But here's another one. It's called Or the Modern Epithemius. I don't know. Anonymous. Okay, no, I didn't get that before. It's another no-name book. Big, strange, odd, kind of attractive books. Okay, so you might be interested in those. Here's a book we like Delmarva Press because they published one of our stories, one of my best stories, and they started sending me a copy every month. And look at it once a year. There's a Labor of Love by Wilson Wyatt, and I don't think I showed you this one. I think I showed the last issue. This is volume 14, and just look at that beautiful book. It's a journal. This is the way journals should be put. They should look that beautiful, and there's a lot of writers and poets in it. And they actually have a lot of good poets in it. I mean, I haven't read too much of this stuff, but I have read some of the poetry, and there's some very good poets in there, I think. I haven't read this new issue, but this is going to go on my stack of stuff. I'm going to try to get some reading done. A couple more quick ones. I've got to move along here. John Andrew Fredrick. We're big fans of John. He's a friend of ours, so this is nicely nepotistic to some extent, but he's also a terrific writer. We loved some of his previous books. And this is the reissue of his first novel called The Knucklehead Chronicles. Now that's actually looks pretty good. From Full Court Press. I don't know who they are, but John is the writer of. He's the kind of the guiding light of the Black Watch, and we're big fans of the Black Watch and their music. And they have a new album coming out. They always have a new album coming out because he's incredibly gifted, and he's annoyingly prolific. And this is a reissue of his first novel, which looks pretty funny. But the ones we've read of his is very funny as well. So, the Knucklehead Chronicles. We always like to talk about and show copies of whatever we get from Library of America. I don't normally read these. I won't probably keep this. This is World War II memoirs. I don't really like anthologies of stuff because I never really read anthologies. But it's just a bunch of World War II memoirs. Okay? So if you're interested in that, someone in your family, again, you can't go wrong getting one of these beautiful books. They always do a nice job. Finally, and this is fine. I wanted to get to this so I didn't forget it. Again, I try not to buy. I'm a hypocrite. I do occasionally buy a book from Amazon, particularly on the Kindle, which for me, for nonfiction, I don't have room for big fat biographies and stuff like that. So I get them on the Kindle. This is a book by a guy who's not, I wouldn't presumptuously say he's a friend of mine. I know Kim and saw him a few times, and I really liked him and enjoyed his company a few times over the years, particularly when I first moved to London. He was always around the Klutz house. We were always kind of orbiting that place. And his newest book is about 2 years ago, The Ministry for the Future. I almost never buy new books. Almost never. And I kind of wanted to read this because it's one of Barack Obama's favorite books of the year, which I just ignore that part. My least favorite literary critic is Barack Obama. Anyway, the book is, I'd read about it. It sounded really interesting. I, like many of you, I'm totally depressed about the state of the world, and we're watching the whole place burn down. Stan has got Kim Stanley Robinson has a kind of positive outlook in horrible times. And this is his projection of what's going to happen in the next 20 to 100 years of the climate crisis. And it begins with horrific events, which we probably will see in the next couple of years, of these kind of heat tornadoes coming down, just literally baking people alive. And it starts out with this horrible scene, and it's very episodic. So it's not really. There's a lot of characters and a lot of different. Even the son is a character in this at one point, and there's one character kind of keeps floating through it, which is someone who survives this horrible climate catastrophe, and he keeps showing up in the book. And it's about people taking revenge against the people who've created this climate crisis. It's kind of a cathartic book. So it's kind of, it's kind of wish fulfillment. There's one point, for example, a bunch of kind of Occupy Wall Street types take over Davos and run it as an education camp to teach these pricks what they're doing to the world. And then there's other stuff where they become terrorists, and they're sending drones after petrochemical executives, and it's weird. It's got lots of other stuff, such as potential ways of improving the disaster that we're facing, and to improve the world's economy. And it is a kind of a socialist science fiction vision of the future. How we could possibly barely save ourselves. It does not look at the future as it's going to be good, but what's the best possible thing? I'm enjoying the book. I can't read it. I read the first half, and I'm going to get the second half pretty soon. Ministry for the Future from Kim Stanley Robinson, one of the really interesting science fiction writers of the past 40, 50 years. And that's it. New-Bop-A-Lula. We did it. That's it. I'm going to stop now. I'm trying to keep these to 12 minutes, and I failed again. Happy bathing. See you soon.